Good day. Today we're going to continue with LO1 video number 3. We're going to focus on Michael Porter's value chain. And at the end of this segment, you should have a good understanding of the relationship between the value chain or the different functions of the value chain, it being primary functions and support functions, and also the link between Porter's value chain and supply chains. So let's start quickly. So the value, well, let's look at value. What is value? So value, from a supply chain perspective at least, involves a process where you improve or add something to a particular item. I'll give you a simple example. Coca-Cola manufacturing beverages, soft drinks, soda. So you get the raw material coming in, and that raw material is converted. You have additives and so on. So value is being added. So you have the raw materials, and then value is being added when you put other additives. Then you bottle it. That is more value being added. You put your labels onto the bottle, value again. So you're increasing the worth of the item, right? And it goes to the end user eventually. So when it goes through the cold supply chain or cold storage, when the beverage gets cold and it's stored in a warehouse that is also cold, that is also value being added. So at every stage, whether it be tangible or intangible, value is added to that item to increase the worth of it. So when we look at Porter's value chain, it reminds us of a supply chain, because a supply chain does add value along the way. At every stage, value is being added. Remember the Coca-Cola example I just gave you. So at every stage, value is being added, and in other organizations, you will see it as well. So for a supply chain to work, you require support activities, also called secondary activities. So I'm highlighting it here to the top. Firm infrastructure, that's a very important activity. That's where management decisions are being made. That's where funding of the supply chain is found. Finance will be there. Finance is the budget holder. Human resource is needed in every value chain and in every supply chain. They are the ones who would send your team for training. They are the ones who would recruit. They are the ones who would motivate, promote the motivation of the supply chain team, promoting continuous development of skills. Then there's technology. No supply chain will be successful, especially those large type organizations like the Amazons, the Walmarts and so on. They need technology. So support from the IT department. They are the ones who are managing the IT platform, the ERP platform, Enterprise Resource Planning platform. They are the ones managing that program, ensuring that there's total integration. And then there's procurement, right? Procurement, as you know, is strategic sourcing. Procurement is part of the infrastructure of a supply chain, a major part. So procurement would procure goods and services. Procurement will manage suppliers. Procurement will negotiate, right? So direct contact with suppliers we see here. All right, sorry. And procurement, or the procurement team, will take care of cross-border relationships. So we don't only do business with suppliers within our region, within our jurisdiction. We do business with suppliers in countries thousands of miles away. So that's the support. Those are the support functions, also called the secondary functions. And then we have the primary functions. So if you look at the primary function, the first element we have here, or function, is inbound logistics. Let's go back to Coca-Cola. In Coca-Cola, raw material will enter the organization. Inbound logistics. That raw material might be warehoused temporarily. That raw material will be sourced by the procurement team. That raw material will be taken care of by or received by a warehouse team who may be reporting to the procurement manager or maybe a supply chain manager. The raw material goes into production. That's where we have operations, and then you have the outbound side. It is likely that the procurement manager and his or her team will be responsible for the outbound logistics side. So when the finished goods are ready, procurement will be responsible for dispatch. The procurement manager may have their team of truck drivers or warehouse personnel getting it out to the distributor and getting it out to the, not just the distributor, but the final destination, it being the retailer and the customer who walks into that store and gets that cold Coca-Cola. All right. So a value chain is synonymous with a supply chain. Why? If you look at a value chain, it's a process. It involves it involves a raw material stage, and the objective is to make a profit, yes, but to satisfy the end user. A supply chain is doing the same thing, right? So you can call a supply chain a value chain because value is being added along the way, particularly in manufacturing type enterprises. All right. So that's it there. Supply chains, value chains, very synonymous or synonymous with each other, and the major elements of a value chain. Thank you.